Georgia, and welcome to William Buck, a firm that is reimagining the way advisors work. Come with me and take a peek behind closed doors. Exceptional advice comes from passionate people who feel empowered to shape outcomes. Our teams include audit and assurance, business advisory, corporate finance, restructuring and insolvency, superannuation, tax, and wealth advisory. These teams work together to create a tangible impact for our clients. Events such as staff breakfasts, colleague lunches, trivia nights, and regular parties allow our people to build relationships inside and out of the office. And between our social club and run club, there's something for everyone. William Buck is the perfect place to start, grow, or take your career to the next level. We have robust training to aid growth opportunities and boost career development. Changing lives is our underlying philosophy, and the William Buck Foundation formalises our community and volunteer initiatives, allowing us to better work with charities and organisations most in need. Your physical and mental well-being is super important to us. Our flexible workplace allows you to better balance your professional and personal life. And we're lucky enough to have an in-house psychologist to help you be your best. If you want to join a company where friendships are made and careers are built, then come on over to a firm that's delivering more than just advice.
I'm here at Urban Surf supporting the Bright Sky and Affordability Adaptive Surfing event, and super excited to see first-timers to people like Sam Bloom who have competed on the world stage.
Got over 30 surfers here registered to jump in the water with us today, and there's a real buzz, lots of excitement. Bright Sky and Forward, we've been around for 64 years supporting people with spinal cord injury, and through Bright Sky we're able to fund an event like this.
I'm excited, it's electric out here, so much energy.
There is a huge crew, the weather has turned it on, it's going to be a sick day, I'm super keen, get some waves with some mates.
We're lucky to have Sam Bloom here. She's a great ambassador for forward ability support, but also a great advocate for surfing.
Sick event, it's cool to have so many surfers out here, and wild setup with Urban Surf and Bright Sky and Cywood, and yeah, it's going to be bad.
You couldn't get a better setup for getting into surfing for adaptive athletes.
It's incredible that Bright Sky and Affordability have put this event on and have made it happen, and yeah, obviously with the support of Cywood. So no, it's awesome. I hope we'll do many more events like this.
Hello, I'm Miriam Latu. I'm playing for the Sydney Blues this season. Please get behind us and get around the 2026 season. Yay!
I'm Shelley Matheson, and we're at the Victorian Institute of Sport training session, which happens after Play On. Play On is a women's and girls wheelchair basketball program for development. Myself and former teammate, Paralympian Leanne Daltoso, we realised that there was no place for women to get involved in wheelchair basketball. And wheelchair basketball has been such a passion and a lifelong thing of both of us that we just wanted to open up our community to more women, so we created the Play On program.
program is it's a special one. We cater for women who just want to connect socially, be involved in basketball, learn new skills, make new friends, but also we cater for those ambitious girls and women who want to actually excel and get to the Paralympic level. So this is that grassroots level where they can come in, learn, have fun, play, and whatever their pathway is, they can start their journey here.
I love sport, I love being an athlete, but for me it's always provided community and connection. And when you're a little disabled girl growing up in the country, you don't always have that. So when I first found wheelchair basketball, I found people like me, I found a community, and yeah, I fell in love with the sport and the people. And some of my best friends in the entire world I found on a basketball court.
I come here every week and I see the smiles on their face, their friends, they want to work hard. They want to show you what they're capable of. It's not just about them, it's actually about their family that sit on the sidelines and the siblings that can jump in and be a part of it. I love that. It's just everyone has a place in the sport and we want everyone to be a part of it.
I hope that women and girls come into the Play On program and just find the joy that is wheelchair basketball, whether they go on to compete for Australia, which I believe that there'll be girls on court in Brisbane in 2032 that have found wheelchair basketball through this Play On program. I hope that the girl who never wants to go further than this program just finds a space here and everything in between. I just hope people fall in love with wheelchair basketball like we all have.
I was really lucky to cross paths with wheelchair basketball when I was 15 years old. I fell in love with the sport.
I was doing horse riding and I wanted to play a team sport, and my mum came across wheelchair basketball and I just grew to love it. My muscles have grown stronger, so I'm able to do a lot more things now because of basketball. Yeah, it's just helped me a lot in life. I would love to play at the Brisbane 2032 Paralympics and represent the country.
I wasn't 21 until I made my first Australian team, so you've got plenty of time. The most important thing is that you just enjoy your basketball.
By rolling out the start line, we want to build a framework where anyone that wants to become involved in parasport can find and navigate their way through to the opportunity that's local, that suits their needs.
Parasport's the best. You meet people that are just like you.
Times can be really tough. You're going to have some really frustrating days. It's okay to ask for help, but I promise you things do get better, and Paralympic sport can play a huge role in that.
Have a go. When we move out of our comfort zone, we surprise ourselves.
Not in my wildest dreams did I imagine that direction my life has taken, and I'm extremely thankful for it.
Just try it. You'll just grow to love it, and you could probably play for your country.
From the ancient dust of the Red Centre to the saltwater coasts where we meet today, Wheelchair Basketball Australia acknowledges the traditional custodians of the lands across this nation where we gather, train and play. We stand on the shoulders of giants, honouring the spirit of the first Indigenous Australian to wear the green and gold at an Olympic or Paralympic Games. Their journey is etched into the very fabric of our league. Across every court and every community, we celebrate the enduring spirit of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. Together, we share in a legacy of strength, culture, and the game we love.
Welcome to the Bendat Basketball Stadium in Perth, Western Australia, on the far west coast of Australia. It's just 10 a.m. in the morning over in Perth time, and a different time if you're on the east coast or wherever you're watching for, but definitely early in the morning over here. And it's the Beltup Perth WheelCats playing what is the 45th and final game of the regular season of the Women's National Wheelchair Basketball League. All 6 teams playing 15 games in a tremendous undertaking organisationally and in terms of resources for the clubs. But yeah, we're finally here. The 45th game, it's the WheelCats taking on the visiting Gold Coast Rollers. As we look at the squads, my name's Brendan Parnell. I'm joined by a name that'll be familiar to anybody involved at the elite level of the sport of wheelchair basketball. Amber Merritt, dual Paralympian, multiple Women's National Basketball League champion. Amber, and a Perth native. Amber, what are you expecting today in this final game of the year for these 2 teams?
I'm expecting some hard defense from the Perth WheelCats. It'll be interesting to see them just roll out some of their, unique defense styles and practice as they get ready for the finals themselves. And for the Gold Coast Rollers, they've had some really good offensive plays, great outside shooting as well, so it'll be good to see them and see how they break down Perth's defensive sets.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we look at the 2 teams. Notable that no Bridie Keane here today, or Ella Saddlejack for the Gold Coast Rollers, not coming on this trip. Certainly creates opportunity for other players in the Gold Coast lineup. They've had a mixed season, still developing franchise. They've had the 3 wins. They sit in 5th position, but the WheelCats have moved from 4th to 3rd. It won't affect their situation coming up to the finals. They'll still have to play on the first day in the 3-4 playoff. But it's, as you mentioned, Amber, an opportunity for the WheelCats to get their house in order, as it were, before the last game before the finals in a fortnight's time.
Absolutely. And it's also, as you mentioned just before, an opportunity for both teams to run their benches and give the developing players as much experience as possible, especially at this level, with what they've got going on.
Yeah, for anybody not familiar with the Perth basketball scene, the Bendat Basketball Centre was a long-time project which features multi-court facilities and other offices. Basketball Western Australia based here in the Perth suburb of Floreat. A fantastic addition for all forms of the sport. So our 3 officials getting themselves organised. It's Ethan Lloyd, Bradley Carl and Theodore Stunker today, who'll be in charge of events. Just waiting for the score table to confirm the starters. Shouldn't be too far away. I think they're starting to roll onto the floor now. It'll be the Perth WheelCats in their familiar home red uniforms, the white numbers, and the visiting Rollers in their blue.
Thanks, Ben. I can take beautiful high-def photos of your butt if you buy it. Please. I want a copy of that.
Of course, it's been a busy time for a few of these players involved in the Australian women's program, the gliders, Sarah Vinci, Ebony Stevenson and Sarah Houston from the WheelCats will be heading to Ottawa for the World Championships in September, just a short time after the Women's National Wheelchair League finals. We're about to get underway, and in fact we are. Ebony Stevenson scrambles after the first possession. Amy Beale. Out to Alexander inside. The shot's off by a shoal.
Sarah Houston hunting down that mismatch in the middle of the key.
First basket of the game. Sarah King. Transition layup for the Rollers. Sarah Vinci trying to get things organised. Nice exchange of passing inside to Amy Beale. Can't get that to go. Rolls again with a 2-on-1 break. Nicely run. And the finish is there. Wilmshurst making that one.
We are seeing the Gold Coast break down the Perth WheelCats movement. A lot of the WheelCats are currently sitting in the keyway and just in their defensive. They're not got enough time to get back to defend those easy layups that the Gold Coast are getting.
Ashley Grice with the ball now. She's got defenders all around her. Takes a dribble to the middle, launches a shot. Catches the back of the rim. Gold Coast retained possession. Perimeter passing, the Wildcats fairly packed in defensively. Kaya Scholl there with the 2.
Yeah, and you could see on the swing just before when Ashley Grice had the ball that there was a double jump defensively by the Perth WheelCats. They are really looking to defend all of those shots and force the ball into someone else's hands for them for the shot, should they take it.
Not much going on for the WheelCats there offensively. Forced into a long shot from Houston. Scholl can't get it to go. Stevenson, always a bundle of energy. She moves up and down the floor. The collision in the backcourt. Kaya Scholl out of her chair. Kaya, of course, a multi-talented para-athlete, para-powerlifter, went to the World Championships from 2018 to 2022, and also a para-canoeist, as well as basketball. Just making sure she's got all her straps secured. We're back underway. Slow start by the WheelCats. They find themselves trailing by 6 and they've turned that over again.
Yeah, I do believe that pass just came a little bit too early for Ebony Stevenson. She was looking to really drive down and take advantage of her speed against the opposition, and unfortunately the pass just came a bit too early for her. Great basket there though.
Sarah Houston got the scoring underway for the WheelCats, but a foul in the backcourt from Amy Beale. Just the second foul for the WheelCats. It's been a sluggish start for them. King gets the ball to Scholl. She flips it into Grice. She thinks about a shot, but she's hotly guarded. Offensive rebound. Grice doing a great job to hustle in there and get the ball. Gets the ball back. Back to Scholl. The shot's off. Stevenson the rebound. Transition opportunity for the WheelCats. And she finishes.
Yeah. Saw Ebony just open up the lane there for Sarah as she was coming down the court, making sure she had the right angle for a beautiful pass, but also a great angle for Sarah for a beautiful layup as well.
Another 2 for the Rollers. No timeout yet for the WheelCats. Houston pops it inside. Stevenson finds her range again. King avoids the defenders. They're all around her. Grice. WHEELCATS aware of her perimeter prowess. She throws a pass that's over the head of Kaya Scholl.
Yeah, the Perth WheelCats are definitely recognising the shooters in the Gold Coast Rollers and trying to get out to them early, forcing the passes into players that you would say are least suspecting in taking those shots.
Stevenson back to Houston. Shots long. Grice the rebound. Scholl. Here's across the floor, picked up by Alexander. Thinks about the shot, thinks better of it. Back to King. Now to Grice. That's the sort of space she likes, and she calmly makes that.
Absolutely. She had all the time in the world there to get that shot off. She gave herself enough space and a nice easy roll. Unfortunately, the WheelCats, they just weren't able to get out to her in time to put a hand up to defend it.
Stevenson inside, gets it to go. Of course, it's been quite the change in responsibility for youngster Ebony Stevenson. She's just back from Glasgow, bronze medal in Commonwealth Games, but the one so young, she's taken on a significant playing and maybe a leadership role, Amber, is that fair to say?
Absolutely. We often say within our team we forget how young Ebony is. She has definitely stepped up this year as a leader. She brings a really beautiful intensity to the team. You see the way she pushes. She's always wanting the best out of herself and those around her. So it is so great to see her take all the opportunities she can get, but also for her to step into that leadership role and have the confidence to do so as well.
Yeah, difficult thing for one so young. Experience comes with its own benefits, but certainly trips away overseas and where she was such a public face of what was such a fantastic event. Arguably, I'm probably biased, but the 3x3 basketball was one of the highlights of the games. I think those scenes at the end of both the finals were pretty amazing stuff.
Absolutely, and 3-on-3 is such a different format to 5-on-5. I personally think that the 3-on-3 can be a lot more intense just because of the speed of the game, the shortness of the time period that you have, and the intensity in which you need to play in the physicality. So it's a very different game to a 5-on-5.
Rollers with the ball. We're about 2/3 of the way through the first quarter. This is the final game of the regular season. Women's National Basketball League, brought to you by Bright Sky Australia, coming to you from the beautiful Bendat Basketball Centre in Perth. Ball with the Rollers. Back to Grice. Beal gets there this time to deter any shooting possibility for her. I beg your pardon, that's Grice with the ball now. It was King before. Stevenson the rebound. She wheels away from Ali. It's a nice little bit of manoeuvring to get between two defenders.
Yeah, she saw Amy drive down low, which opened up that small gap for her to drive into. Obviously, a foul has been called. It would have been good to see her shoot the shot for the 2 shots at the ring, but a great drive by Ebony Stevenson.
Vinci kicks it across. Gillis can't get it to go. So Vinci looping around finds her way to the basket. Turnover. Stevenson picks it off. Gillis can't get it to go. Grice the rebound. She's held up. She throws a speculative half-court hook pass. Ebony Stevenson was there, but the ball caught one of her wheels and sailed out of bounds.
That is unfortunate. You can see now the WheelCats have picked up their defensive intensity, looking to play that hit on the player over the halfway line and really force that long pass to either a quick steal and pick off or a potential turnover.
Grice rolls into a 3 and an ill-advised foul there. Just to close out a little too long.
Yeah, I do believe that was Nat Alexander with the foul there, unfortunately. Just didn't give herself enough time to get to the right position. And yeah, allowing Ashley Grice for those 3 shots.
Yeah, she's demonstrated this season, Grice, that she certainly has the 3-point range given the right time and space. And it's apparent that would have been featuring on the WheelCats scouting report about trying to deny that space for her.
Absolutely. She's definitely shown this season that she is a shooting threat and one that needs to be watched and very much well respected. So key is just trying to deny her the space and avenues for those shots that she takes.
Stevenson leads the break there, finds Beal, finishes neatly. Pressure in the backcourt again. Kelton held up. Gets it ahead to Scholl. Onto Grice. Her chair speed apparent every time she touches the ball. Flips it across the floor. Kelton back to Grice. Stevenson gets a hand in there. Stevenson flips it out ahead as she dribbles at pace, went very close to the sideline. In fact, I think she knew she'd gone a little too quickly and a little too close to the sun there over the baseline.
Yeah, unfortunately she was driving and just couldn't quite make the decision on what she wanted to do, and yeah, didn't realise how far she was probably going and how far down the baseline she was either.
She swoops in to get a defensive rebound off Maddie Kelton's miss. It's the other way. Closing stages, first quarter. Lovely pass from Stevenson and excellent finish from Sarah Vinci.
Beautiful. And you can see Ashley Grice was sitting in the middle there. She had no idea that Vinny was coming down that outside lane. She was so focused on what Ebony was doing with the ball that Vinny was able just to get underneath and get that sneaky little layup.
Ali gets it off to Scholl. The shot's off. Vinci with the ball. The back screening action. Cuts out a defender. Vinci straight at the hoop. Grice, another rebound. Her 5th of the quarter. To go with her 6 points. She wheels around, uses a screen. Gets a shot off, can't get it to go. Stevenson has one of her sideways manoeuvres for the body and chair. To get around, finds Amy Beal. Shame that didn't go down. And it was right on the quarter time buzzer. That'll do us a highly entertaining first quarter. It's the Perth WheelCats come from behind. They lead 16-12 over the Gold Coast Rollers, and we'll be back to the Bendat Basketball Centre in just a moment.
I'm Georgia, and welcome to William Buck, a firm that is reimagining the way advisors work. Come with me and take a peek behind closed doors. Exceptional advice comes from passionate people who feel empowered to shape outcomes. Our teams include audit and assurance, business advisory, corporate finance, restructuring and insolvency, superannuation, tax, and wealth advisory. These teams work together to create a tangible impact for our clients.
Welcome back to Perth's Bendat Basketball Centre for the second quarter of the final game of the regular season of the Women's National Wheelchair Basketball League, brought to you by Bright Sky Australia. It's the home built-up Perth Wheelcats, having taken the first two games in this series 71-30 on Friday and 63-35 last night, finding themselves with a much smaller advantage, 16-12, as plays underway in the second quarter. Gold Coast Rollers with the ball in the blue. They've taken that shot. Ebony Stevenson now streaking the other way.
Perth looking to get the man-out advantage. Saw Laura Gillies up the backcourt prior, back-picking someone.
Shots up and in from Gillies. Kaya Scholl looks to kick it ahead. Somehow King got hold of it, then lost it. Stevenson's everywhere. That one defender picked up a second. Kaya Scholl rolls her eyes. She couldn't quite pick up or scoop up that ball before it went out of bounds.
Great intensity from both players in chasing after that though, and fighting for the ball to who will get it.
Alexander. Stevenson dives to the free throw line, gets the ball. There's hands all around her. She does one of her familiar almost backward swan dives. Her degree of mobility and flexibility, and you will see her pop herself up in a way that very few players in the league can do.
Yeah, I'd say I'd probably give that one a 9 out of 10 on the gymnastic scale for Ebony.
Yeah, there's a wonderful photo of her parallel to the ground, which was recently, I think it was second place in a National Photographic Award for action photography. Got a nice little routine there at the free throw line. There's a little bit of Steph Curry about that as well. That three bounce routine's become almost a plague. All the younger players seem to adopt it.
Absolutely, and I know Ebony has been working really hard on consistent shooting routines in her free throw ability, so it's good to see her finesse that and bring all of that practice she's been doing into game.
King drives middle, lovely screen and roll. Ball back to Grice. She delayed her roll there and almost started peeling out, then circled back around.
Absolutely. I think she could see that all of the Wheelcats had almost clustered the ball there, and so she found the lane just to sneak in, and unfortunately Sarah Vinci just wasn't able to get there in time.
Stevenson finds a seam, gets to the basket. Again, a turnover, trying to get the ball across half court.
The Perth Wheelcats have definitely seemed to have lifted their defensive intensity here, forcing the Gold Coast Rollers to try and make those longer passes into the open court to prevent an 8-second call from happening.
In the background, we see some mass substitutions from Perth head coach Robert Pike. Stevenson launches straight into a 3. Offensive rebound and put back from Houston.
I have to say, across the whole league, it is great to see women taking more three-point shots, really trying to expand the width of the game, utilising the space, and eventually, hopefully get some pick and rolls out of it.
Yeah, we were talking before about the very apparent evolution in the men's league, adopting a framework that I think comes from Brad Ness's style with the Australian men's team, the Rollers, of very much floor spacing and three-point capacity being valued. We saw youngster Ethan Laird take one of the final spots in the Rollers World Championship team, and his three-point prowess undoubtedly had a lot to do with that, a youthful enthusiasm, of course, but
Absolutely. When you see you can shoot from the three-point line, it really opens up the floor and the opportunities for everyone else. And, in this game, it is a game of utilising space.
Unfortunately, that three-point attempt was well short. Right on cue for our commentary. But it's Vinci with the ball for Perth, heading the other way. Nice back cut from Stevenson. She didn't get the ball, but certainly had the defenders in two minds.
Absolutely. And I know we were discussing earlier, Brendan, about being the proverbial red herring. If you are a big person in the keyway and you do receive the ball, a lot of the defenders will sucker down to you, creating opportunity for those little back cuts for players like Ebony, and we'll see probably Sarah Vinci do it as well today.
Yeah, it ties into the space idea that you can create space for others by having a certain gravity yourself. Second free throw's off from Houston. Grice another rebound. She's got certainly some passing power. She snapped that chest pass off almost three-quarter court. Unfortunately, it bounced straight over the head of Anne-Marie Ali. Gillis, Stevenson, Houston. Back to Gillis, but the pass was didn't do her any favours. Behind her. Houston goes back to get it. Kelton the rebound. Grice pushing ahead, flips it past to Scholl. Back to Kelton. She sees a little lane to the basket and gets there. Makes the layup. Not a lot Maddie Kent could do about that.
No, the defenders seem to have just got caught up on each other and the pure speed and potential experience of Maddie just getting past the other Maddie.
Shot from Houston sits on the rim tantalisingly for a second, won't go. The Rollers off and running it, rough and rolling again. Kelton. To Grice. Scholl. Gives a fake, lets the defender back off and launched a shot, but nothing doing.
And good ball movement there from the Gold Coast Rollers, moving it around the horn, finding the open hand on the wing for a shot.
Pass inside, Stevenson. There's a very creative pass back across to Kent. Finds its way to Houston, shots off. Kelton doing all she can to keep the ball away from hands. Ali throws it forward, but there's Stevenson again. Just living in those outlet passing lanes. Shot from Gillis is off. Stevenson gets it, looks around, realises she's not guarded, and makes the two.
Yeah, great finding the space there from Ebony as well. Somehow she made it from one side of the elbow to the baseline inside the key for that curl, and nice easy layup.
Kelton, back to Grice. She tucks the ball in her lap. Switches direction, looking for three. It's a lovely shot fake that became a pass. Completely confused the defenders. Everybody looked up thinking that was going to be a three-point attempt. She just changed the angle of release and found Maddie Kelton all alone under the rim.
Yeah, that was a great pass and great fake by Ashley Grice.
We're going to see a timeout before those free throws are taken. A little bit of confusion there, but the players have opted to take a break. Coaches a chance to have a look at things. Overall, I think the Gold Coast, Amber, wouldn't be too unhappy. They've been, given their playing stocks are down for this these weekend's 3 games. The first 2 have been pretty tough affairs, but they're hanging around pretty well at the moment.
Absolutely, I can see that they've definitely made the adjustments from the last 2 games that they played against the Perth WheelCats. They are now taking advantage of the full width of the court. They're getting a little bit more pace up and able to break the press break or the press of the WheelCats a little bit easier than what they have been the last 2 games. So being able to give themselves the opportunities to get down and have a bit more of an offensive game than what they had the last 2 games.
The final minutes of instructions. Any insights, Amber, into how the 3 Perth players are looking forward to Ottawa and the World Championships?
Yeah, look, I can definitely say they've been training very, very hard leading into the Ottawa World Championships. They're training 5 days a week at the WA Institute of Sport under Coach Jamie there and also strength coach, Coach Arjun. So these girls are getting themselves well primed for the event. And also, looking potentially just to taper a little bit leading into it so that they're not too overexerted.
Yeah, particularly in the case of, say, Ebony Stevenson, who, as we mentioned, been over in Glasgow, as well as being involved with the various gliders commitments and her National League commitments, and taking a leadership role here with the more and more with the WheelCats.
Yeah, and she's got youth on her side, so she's a little energizer bunny, Ebony Stevenson. She just loves to go and go and go.
As Ashley Grice sneaks in off the missed free throw, gets the offensive rebound and adds another 2 to her tally. She's up to 10.6 rebounds. Really the shining light from a scoring and rebounding perspective for the Rollers. He snaffles another rebound there. Off to the races. Scholl looks around, back to Grice. She's double teamed. Still manages to launch a shot, but it was contested. She somehow gets after the offensive rebound, lands in her lap, draws some contact. Sarah Houston looks a little bemused by that call, but it'll stand.
I think a conversation that will be had between the coach and the players of the Perth WheelCats is just boxing out and trying to deny the Gold Coast Rollers getting those rebounds, especially off a free throw.
Ashley Grice can't get the first one to go. She's got a much simpler technique at the free throw line, just lines the seams up, sets herself. Got a whistle in the background. Sarah Vinci might need to head to the pits. She's lost a wheel. Nope, she's managed to be her own mechanic. Plug it back in. People may not realise, Amber, these are pretty high-end chairs, aren't they? Just not the chairs you would see roaming around the streets.
Absolutely not. They are completely designed towards our sport. As with every para sport that involves a piece of equipment, the piece of equipment is designed around our bodies and the sport itself. So, we looked at wheelchair basketball. I think our chairs average about $15,000 a piece. And they're high-tech pieces of equipment that are completely built to our bodies.
Wow. So, quite the undertaking. That shot's off from the WHEELCATS. Closing stages, second quarter. The last regular season game before the finals, which will be coming to you both on the Wheelchair Basketball Australia YouTube channel and KO streaming network. All the games from that 3-day extravaganza, awards presentation, and obviously the finals, semi-finals, preliminary finals, and the grand finals on Sunday, the 23rd August. Screen and roll action. Shot's a little short. Stevenson does the best job. I don't know how she didn't come out of a chair there, but she didn't. Flip the ball back. Grice got hold of it. Missed. Stevenson another rebound. Up to 8 in that tally to go with her 10 points. She weaves around through the middle. There's a pass, can't get finished. Gets hold of another rebound herself. Can't get that to go. Maddie Kelton swinging her arms around to shake off some would-be thieves of the ball. Wilmshurst heading the other way. Hands off to Kelton. She weaves around a couple of times. Looks at a shot. Doesn't get it to go. Sarah Vinci gets left with the rebound.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of confusion there from the Perth WheelCats who was going to get that rebound. Let's see what we can get here.
Lily Poulter gets down to the baseline, can't get it to go. Sarah Houston aggressively after the offensive rebound, balances herself and finishes.
And a great seal there by Sarah Vinci for Lily Poulter for that nice little layup. Getting her under the key as close as possible.
Wilmshurst got some contact there, looked around, no call from the officials. Kelton drives baseline. Was that shot intimidated? Houston coming the other way, finds Stevenson. She wheels around. Brilliant little manoeuvre to duck her chair around the defender. That takes some doing, I'd imagine, Amber.
Absolutely. Again, it's almost the design of the chair as well. They're built to our bodies, so for her to be able to use her hips and just also her speed to really break down that line and get down to the baseline. That nice shot.
Houston inside. It's 2 off the glass. Pressure just mounting on the rollers here in this final minute of the second quarter. Ball's kicked ahead. A little hot for Maddie Kelton. And in fact, that'll be half time. The buzzer goes off in the background. And the WheelCats exerting pressure right at the end there to stretch their lead out to 15. They lead 34-19. And we'll be back at the Bendat Basketball Centre shortly with the second half.
I'm Nicholas Marachi. I'm a Senior Manager in the Tax Services team here at William Buck in Victoria. William Buck has a really good environment of innovating and really changing things up where we need to adapt. And as tax law changes, our way of administering it and our way of preparing advice also changes, and we're adapting to that. The firm has a really good culture of acknowledging good behaviours and good efforts and outstanding outcomes from staff members. The Victorian office offers an Excellence Award to an outstanding staff member. That was a really humbling experience for me. Usually I'm not short for words, but I was short for words at that point in time.
Hello, I'm Miriam Latu. I'm playing for the Sydney Blues this season. Please get behind us and get around the 2026 season. Yay!
Wheelchair basketball emerged shortly after World War II after it was developed by injured servicemen. It became a foundation Paralympic sport at the 1960 Games and is now one of the world's most recognisable wheelchair sports. Athletes who play wheelchair basketball have a physical impairment. All players use a wheelchair to compete, although some don't use a wheelchair in everyday life. The court dimensions and basket height for wheelchair basketball are the same as the able-bodied version of the sport, as is the playing time and number of players on court. Wheelchair basketball classifications range between 1 and 4.5 points. Players with a classification of 1.0 have the highest level of impairment, while players in the 4.5 point class have the highest level of physical function to be eligible for the sport. The wheelchairs used during a game are specially designed to support players and help them move around the court. During a match, the classifications of the 5 players on the court are added together and must reach a total of no more than 14 points. The object of the game is to score the most points in the opposing team's basket. The team with the most points by the time the clock expires wins. Wheelchair basketball is a contact sport. The sport is so fast that it can be difficult for athletes to stop in time, meaning contact is inevitable and can result in some spectacular collisions. While contact is permitted and even encouraged, head-on collisions are strictly forbidden and can result in fouls or even ejection from the game. For more information on wheelchair basketball, visit paralympic.org.au.
I'm Shelley Matheson and we're at the Victorian Institute of Sport training session, which happens after Play On. Play On is a women's and girls wheelchair basketball program for development. Myself and former teammate, Paralympian Leanne Daltoso, we realised that there was no place for women to get involved in wheelchair basketball. And wheelchair basketball has been such a passion and a lifelong thing of both of us that we just wanted to open up our community to more women, so we created the Play On program.
program is it's a special one. We cater for women who just want to connect socially, be involved in basketball, learn new skills, make new friends, but also we cater for those ambitious girls and women who want to actually excel and get to the Paralympic level. So this is that grassroots level where they can come in, learn, have fun, play, and whatever their pathway is, they can start their journey here.
I love sport, I love being an athlete, but for me it's always provided community and connection. And when you're a little disabled girl growing up in the country, you don't always have that. So when I first found wheelchair basketball, I found people like me, I found a community, and yeah, I fell in love with the sport and the people. And some of my best friends in the entire world I found on a basketball court.
I come here every week and I see the smiles on their face, their friends, they want to work hard, they want to show you what they're capable of. It's not just about them, it's actually about their family that sit on the sidelines and siblings that can jump in and be a part of it. I love that. It just, everyone has a place in the sport and we want everyone to be a part of it.
I hope that women and girls come into the Play On program and just find the joy that is wheelchair basketball, whether they go on to compete for Australia, which I believe that there'll be girls on court in Brisbane in 2032 that have found wheelchair basketball through this Play On program. I hope that the girl who never wants to go further than this program just finds a space here and everything in between. I just hope people fall in love with wheelchair basketball like we all have.
Welcome back to Perth, Western Australia in the Bendat Basketball Centre. Some highlights from the first half of the last regular season game. The Perth WheelCats leading at the moment 34-19 over the Gold Coast Rollers, and it's been a pretty strong effort from the Rollers given their playing stocks for this round and the result of the previous two games, Amber. Some of the highlights here. Sarah Houston with the finish there. And Ebony Stevenson was fantastic. She's got 12 points, 9 rebounds and 4 assists. As we look at some of the team stats, the WheelCats with 17 made 2-point field goals. Nobody's managed to make anything from 3. They must have adjusted one of the 3-point attempts from Ashley Grice back to a 2 at the halftime break. It looked like it was a 3, but rebounding pretty equal, and probably the bottom line, Amber, is significant, the turnovers.
Yeah, absolutely. Perth WheelCats have been putting their defensive pressure on. I will say that the Gold Coast Rollers have adapted to that this game in comparison to the last 2 games that they've played against them. However, the pressure has just been too strong, playing the hit, picking off those steals from the Perth WheelCats, and forcing those overhead passes into the forward court.
Yeah, from an individual perspective, as I mentioned, Ebony Stevenson maybe tracking towards a potential triple-double if she can find a few more assists. Ashley Grice has done almost the same thing for her team, the Gold Coast Rollers. She has 11 points, 10 rebounds and a couple of assists. As play gets underway, second half and the last half of the regular season. The WheelCats in their red uniforms, Ebony Stevenson comes straight out and goes boom, and that's definitely a 3. I don't know if that was a set play out of the halftime huddle, but it was effective.
I can say that was a set play, and that was a beautiful shot by Ebony Stevens there. Great finish.
She gets an offensive rebound and can't finish. Shoal the defensive rebound. So that's something they've practiced, Amber, straight out of the halftime break.
I have to be careful. I can't give away too many secrets. But there are some plays that, every team will have set plays that they will utilise coming out of baseline or sideline inbounds.
Indeed. Probably the thing from a coaching perspective is they very infrequently run the way that they run when you execute them at practice, or plan them at practice.
Absolutely. I definitely can say from my career there was a number of half times that I came out of and would ask players, wait, what did the coach just say to us?
Stevenson launched another three there that missed, but the Wheelcats got the ball back. Stevenson on the drive finishes for 2 more to her tally. She's up to 17 now. Backcourt pressure, quadruple team there. And King, she's turned it over. Vinci the layup. Second half started ominously for the Rollers. Kelton to Scholl. She's held up. Gonna have to throw something speculative to get the ball across halfway. Alexander couldn't reel it in. Wilmshurst gets after it. She couldn't quite get down to it on the first turnaround. Ball is back with the Wheelcats. Alexander switches to that left hand, has a pass poked away from behind. Finds its way back to the Wheelcats. Vinci in all sorts of pressure, manages to get a pass to Stevenson. She misses the first attempt, makes the second.
Yeah, the Gold Coast Rollers, they were really trying to hustle on to Sarah Vinci, make it as hard as possible for her to get that pass across or a shot off if that was what she was looking for, but she was able just to find the space and time to find Ebony Stevenson.
Yeah, Ashley Grice not on the floor at the moment, and it's apparent for the Rollers really struggling to get the ball out of the backcourt as Ebony Stevenson plays ping pong off the backboard, offensive rebounding. Eventually has it knocked away, and she does another one of her patented horizontal lean backs. Everybody always holds their breath. Everybody apart from Ebony, I think.
Yeah. You know, I think anyone watching for the first time who sees that definitely has a bit of panic rise. But it has been something that we've just grown accustomed to, and you'll see that all the players will stop and help her back up into her chair as quickly as possible.
Rollers with the ball, struggling to get something organised. That shot's deflected from Scholl. Stevenson, another rebound. She's raced up to 15 in that category, just in the early stages of this third quarter. Ball's in dispute, a jump ball is called. And the possession arrow, which sits on the score table, decides that the ball will go back to the Gold Coast. That alternates every time there's a jump ball or a held ball. Wilmshurst almost has it poked away. Back to Kelton, back to King. And a lot of player movement. Scholl looks for a pass inside, but the cut was a little delayed.
Yeah, she had the picking angle there and was looking just for that little roll in, but unfortunately I think the Perth Wheelcats players had just covered her enough to deny her getting into the keyway.
Stevenson heads off to the left. Vinci, sort of a sliding screen there. She rolled, got the ball back, drew some contact, will head to the free throw line.
Yeah, it looks like the referees determined that was a bit of a late call off of the shot for Sarah Vinci. We could definitely hear the contact, that there was some contact made as she was shooting, causing the foul.
She throws her head back in frustration as that one's a little long. She's got the nice little dipping wind up to generate the power. King the rebound off the miss. Ahead to Scholl. She's got Stevenson to worry about. Throws a pass, but unfortunately Castelli was coming to screen instead of looking for the pass. But the Wheelcats throw it away as well.
It looks like Sarah Vinci thought that Ebony Stevenson was just going to go for that line to the basket instead of turning back with the ball, and instead she just threw it long and not directly to her with anticipation.
Wheelcats choosing to back off their pressure now. It's been effective to start this quarter, certainly extended the margin. They're content to defend just in the half court here. Shots up from Sarah King, and a wayward hand or a chair has created some contact, a pushing foul detected.
Yeah, the Wheelcats have really started packing in the keyway now, forcing the Gold Coast Rollers to look at potentially an outside shot.
A little bit of confusion from players lined up at the free throw line. They're back to front. Didn't know if the officials were going to notice that. The players certainly were daydreaming. Second shot from Sarah King's off. Wilmshurst, nice dump inside. Kelton can't get it to go. Stevenson goes weak with the hook pass, three-quarter court. Unfortunately, Amy Beale just couldn't quite get hold of it. Coming up on the midway point, third quarter, the Cats have managed to stretch ahead. And this is their last regular season game before the finals. They'll finish in third position in the standings. Wilmshurst gets that offensive rebound inside and gets it to fall.
Great positioning there by Wilmshurst. She was able to get in initially and be there for the rebound of the Kaya Shell shot.
Stevenson goes coast to coast, tumbles out of her chair, yeah. And Wilmshurst, former Australian representative, under 25 level. As we see a couple of subs roll onto the floor. Ebony Stevenson's going to take a well-earned, no, possibly not a break. She's just positioning herself back defensively. There she is sailing in to poke that ball away.
It looks like the Perth Wheelcats are now running a bit of a mid lineup on their court. They've taken away their two big high point players, seeing what the mid lineup can do for them.
Still no sign of Ashley Grice, the Rollers' leading scorer and rebounder in the first half. Kelton gets a shot off down near the baseline, draws some contact again.
Great finding the space there by Kelton, curling herself out, sitting behind the player. Perth Wheelcats player did jump out to them, but just wasn't able to get there in time and causing the foul for the shot.
Maddie Kelton off with the first, but makes the adjustment for the second. Tough going, scoring-wise for the Rollers in this third quarter. Stevenson drives baseline. Beale comes to set a screen. She skips a pass across to Alexander. She does well to reel that in. Finds Beale, who's cut inside. Nice little two-side play there.
Yeah, letting the ball do the work there, moving it around, letting everyone get a touch of it, creating space and eventually getting a player into the keyway there for the Perth Wheelcats.
We see an 8-second violation, turnover. Teams, of course, having 8 seconds to get their ball out of their backcourt and across the halfway line. The Perth Wheelcats' defensive pressure designed to put pressure on that very 8-second number. Stevenson rips across to the left-hand side of the floor, finds a shot she likes. She was probably travelling a little too quickly there to get any real control on it. Scholl looks inside, finds Wilmshurst. She gathers herself, can't get that to go. Beale the rebound.
It was a nice drive there by Wilmshurst. She is a tall girl driving into the keyway, looking for that mismatch. So it's great to see that she took those opportunities.
Beale takes a shot, and straight away hustles after her own offensive rebound and puts that back in. Scholl. Held up by Beale. Flips a pass ahead. Wilmshurst does well to get a hand on that. Scoops it up. And then flips a lovely left-hand pass inside, which again finds its way to Maddie Kelton. She can't finish. Stevenson's there. Rebound number 18 for her. Drives baseline, changes hands, flips a pass to Sarah Vinci. She wheels around in a probing arc. Comes right all the way back right round to Stevenson's side and makes the shot.
Looking for that space, working from one side of the court to the other. Love shooting off that left-hand side and especially off the baseline as well. She can be exceptionally dangerous.
Certainly covered a lot of ground there in a large circle. Scholl with the ball, gives a little fake, but all the time that she was doing that, the 8-second clock was counting down. It's another turnover for the Rollers. Stevenson looks at another three. Almost there. Bryce back on the floor. Absorbs the rebound. Flips it off to King. Back to Grice. Sets herself. Can't get it to go. Rebound tumbles harmlessly out of bounds. Closing stages, third quarter. We're almost at the end of the regular season. Both WheelCats finishing in style with what looks to be 3 wins on the bounce.
You can see Ashley Grice there trying to create as much space as possible for herself in getting that shot off. Even though the Perth WheelCats players are jumping out to her, she is able to just create a little bit of space between herself and them for a nice easy basket.
I think we've got a timeout on the floor. A little slow to have that one identified. As we see the rebounding statistic, remarkably fairly even for a game that's got such a disparity in scoring. It's been the much more efficient field goal percentage. Perth WheelCats are shooting the ball at 42% overall to just 30% for the Gold Coast Rollers, and the 21 turnovers that the Rollers have leaked, which has assisted the WheelCats to establish the healthy advantage they enjoy at the moment.
Yeah, the Perth WheelCats have definitely applied the pressure in that press against the Gold Coast Rollers, forcing them to make a decision and pass over some pretty tall bodies as well.
Yeah, we noted before the absence of the Gold Coast Rollers head coach, playing coach Ella Sabeljak today, and Matt McShane and Deanna Sanderson taking the reins, and I believe that's for another international commitment that Ella has, Amber.
Absolutely, yes. Ella is part of the Australian Steelers, the wheelchair rugby team for Australia, and they are leaving, I believe, on Tuesday for their World Championships down in Brazil. So she has obviously not travelled. Travelling to Perth is a long distance, and then having to back it up with a flight to Brazil. Plus, they have got a young daughter as well that she will be travelling with to those games. So it's a lot of travel in a short period of time. So she's enlisted Matt McShane, who is also her husband, to be coaching the Gold Coast Rollers.
Hearing that schedule, I'm immediately thinking I'm not as busy as I thought I was. Mixing 2 elite sports, a young family. Plenty to keep her busy. Stevenson gets into the middle of the paint and converts another 2. All into the front court. King, and in fact, an offensive foul detected there.
Yeah, an illegal screen was called on number 4 for the Gold Coast Rollers. It was a little bit easier to see, just the angle of her chair wasn't quite right in the way that she initiated that contact, which drew that foul. This game is a game of positioning your chairs and something that we have to be extra considerate about when it comes to movements and making sure a foul doesn't get called against us.
Yeah, Georgia Ebert there, assessed with the foul. She looked a little confused, but certainly got the explanation from the official, which is always beneficial. King gets into the front court, manages to loop round almost a tiny space, finds Scholl heading to the hoop almost alone. She can't get the layup to go. Stevenson, which had been in the rebound. Number 19. She's looking pretty comfortable. Finds Gillis inside. Shots off. Shots off again. Nobody couldn't get hold of that.
No, I think Laura was a little bit worried there about the 3-second call. She got in nicely. She was looking around, I think, for the pass to an outlet. However, made the decision to shoot knowing that time was running down for her inside the keyway.
Sorry, Houston gets the friendly roll. That'll be all she wrote for the third quarter. It's the Perth WheelCats 55 leading the Gold Coast Rollers 24, and we'll be back in Perth in just a moment.
From grassroots to the pros, I'd love to see that.
Where style meets performance, I'd love to see that.
Supporting champions and inspiring the next generation, I'd love to see that.
Welcome back to Perth, Western Australia, and the Bendad Basketball Centre for the final quarter of the final game of the regular season of the Women's National Wheelchair Basketball League, brought to you by Bright Sky Australia. It's the home Perth WheelCats, looking every inch a finals contender. They lead comfortably 55-24. They're about to get things underway. A unique little double line formation there from the players. Gillies gets into the paint. It's almost slow motion play there. The player's a little slow to adjust. Finchie the rebound and the finish.
That was beautiful movement there by Sarah Vinci. She was able to get underneath the ring, and I think she was looking for Laura Gillies to follow her to get her as close as possible in a sealing action, which Laura was able to do. Unfortunately, the shot wasn't able to come off.
Meanwhile, the Rollers turned it over again. Perth with the ball. Eddie Stevenson not on the floor at the moment for the first time this morning. I say this morning on the far west coast of Australia. This game getting underway at 10 a.m. Tough for some of these players to get themselves up and moving. Third game of the weekend. Of course, the Gold Coast have got some extended travel right back across the country after this game. Makes you appreciate what a tremendous undertaking it is. I think 96 games between the Men and Women's National League involving teams spread across the length and breadth of the Australian continent. Remarkable organisational achievement. Ashley Grice pops out of her chair, gets a hand from Sarah Vinci. They exchange a bit of a joke.
Yeah, it looks like just as Ashley was rolling in for that layup there, Sarah Vinci had her covered, and as the shot was going off, she just charged straight into her, which is an offensive foul, which was called, and also leaving her on the floor as well.
Vinci off to Houston. She looks at potential baseline drive. Vinci cuts middle. Ball finds its way back. Gillies can't get it to go. Scholl selectively with the pass to Grice. She kicks it on to King. King's cut off by Houston. Wheels back around. Finds Grice, who throws a nice little touch pass just a fraction in front of Kaya Scholl. Just made that opportunity to shoot a little tricky to get to.
That was great transitional basketball by the Gold Coast Rollers. You know, moving, getting the ball up the line, finding the open player, and making the Perth WheelCats make a decision on who they wanted to defend there.
Vinci gets inside. Grice the rebound off the miss. It's her 12th rebound. She kicks it ahead to King. Just the ability, the strong passing ability of Grice has diffused a lot of that backcourt pressure and enabled transition. Kaya Scholl can't get it to go. Gillies the rebound. Houston cut off. Kicks it ahead to Throms. Finds Vinci. Throms keeps moving. Gets it back. Left-hand shot. Almost goes. Exasperated cry from the crowd there. They were hoping that would go in.
Yeah. And we see now the Gold Coast Rollers have got the ball down the court. You can see when the WheelCats have put their press on, Ash Grice has done an amazing job of passing the ball before getting into any form of contact. When you get into contact, it does make it a little bit harder to get those long passes off, or even just a pass off. So it's been good to see her utilise her speed and the space that she can create on the court with her teammates to get those passes.
It was interesting, the three-point attempt Ashley Grice took there. She was stationary in the chair, and it's just a real demonstration of how difficult it is to generate the power. We've seen she and Ebony Stevenson use the roll-in to generate that power and rhythm to shoot the three-point shot. And that's certainly apparent in the men's game. There's very few players can sit there stationary and shoot from the three-point arc.
Yeah, absolutely. And you do think, in sitting in wheelchair basketball, a lot of the athletes don't actually have the ability to drive through their legs in any capacity. It all just comes from the torso and the strength of the shoulders and their arms. So just having that nice little roll can actually make it a lot easier to generate power.
So we see a timeout. The WheelCats have called for that. Their head coach, Robert Pike, maybe trying to tweak a couple of adjustments. out of the lineup he has on the floor at the moment. And Ebony Stevenson free lineup, so different responsibilities for some of his players a little further down the roster.
Yeah, and some of the more senior girls will probably be stepping into roles that they're not quite accustomed to. You know, we look at some of the high pointers in Laura Gillis and Sarah Houston and how they will now probably be more facilitating for teammates over just trying to run and gun into the keyway.
Officials figure the timeout is complete. The theory is it should only last for 60 seconds from the time it's called to the time play resumes. I don't know if that always happens in practice, humans being what they are. Trying to corral 10 humans back out on the floor and get them to start playing again. So we're going to see the double line formation again. WHEELCATS peel off. It certainly freezes the defence. Houston changes direction. The bench has just realised the shot clock's about to expire. Gets it to Gillis. She forces one up. It goes in.
Beautiful shot by Gillis. We actually did recently have a little bit of a giggle as a team. Laura loves to shoot off balance. Even when we say square up, one of those shots that she really loves to work on and practice is sitting sideways in her chair and getting it over and utilising her height. So
maybe that gives her a little leverage or creates a little momentum, the sideways movement, and the shoulder. I can see that. Houston with the ball now for the WheelCats. Tick down towards the midpoint of the final quarter. Vinci inside, nice little fake to shake the defender. Ali gets in the middle of a huge amount of traffic, gets the rebound. Ball spits out ahead. King has nothing but wide open space to make the layup.
yeah, I think there was almost 9 chairs in the keyway up the WheelCats side there, with Sarah just leaking out. Unfortunately, they were able to get the pass off. They weren't able to cover it as much as they thought they were going to be able to.
Grice pokes that away and uses her superior speed in the chair to get to the rim. Can't get it to go, but King does a great job to reel in the rebound. Get it back to Grice. That shot's astray, but it's deflected out of bounds by a WheelCats hand. And the ball will stay with the Rollers. Just a substitution for the Rollers. Slight delay.
I can imagine with Ashley Grice here inbounding, if the WheelCats allow her enough space, she will look for that 3-point shot, which they have to be conscious of.
She gets the requisite run-up, but Sarah King goes for the long 2. Uses her own little roll-in.
Beautiful shot there off the free throw extended line.
Houston with the ball for Perth. Probing around. It's a couple of cuts. Vinci inside, leans back to try and avoid the defenders. Does so effectively and finishes.
It was a beautiful find there by Sarah Houston and a tough finish there for Sarah Vinci as well, having so many hands around her, challenging that shot.
Ball kicks ahead. Houston gets a hand on it, deflects it out of bounds. Across the Gold Coast will be the host of the 2027 National Wheelchair Basketball League and Women's National Wheelchair Basketball League finals. It amazes me. Preparations for that event, before we've even held the 2026 one, are well underway with organising bodies and various governments. I'm I'm sure the athletes in the southern states will appreciate heading to the Gold Coast around this time of year in 2027. The warmer climate. King tries to get past Vinci, can't quite do so. Finds Grice. She pokes through traffic, gets the ball to Georgia Ebert, who hands it back to Grice. Couldn't get the shot to go. Grice comes in aggressively, but can't get the ball loose. Gillis heading the other way.
It's a great little play there by Ashley Grice, recognising that the Wheelcats are both like double jumping her right now and are giving the ball to Georgia before jumping back and receiving it. Finding that space again.
Sarah King hands it off to Grice. Sarah Vinci defensively is right on her. Ball comes back, just a little out of the reach of Sarah Vinci. Gets to Grice. King with that left-hand shooting motion. Lily Poulter to inbound. The dying stages of the regular season. Women's National Wheelchair Basketball League. Sarah Vinci hands off. Laura Gillis drives baseline. Draws a couple of defenders. Looks to dump inside. A little outside the range of the catching range of Maddie Kent there.
Yeah, those little dump passes can be quite challenging, especially for a lower point player to receive. If they haven't got the rotation to be able to look over their shoulders, as we can see, Maddie Kent unfortunately does not. Being able to catch those passes, they really have to be on the money in the lap.
Ball's in. Sarah King wheels around past Vinci, who pursues her from behind. All across to Amelia Alley. Can't get that shot to go. The bench was enthusiastically hoping that might have gone in. Ashley Grice streams ahead. Finds Sarah King. She just couldn't get back to that right hand at all. Ashley Grice's shot sits up on the rim. She tries to steal it away. Almost levers herself up out of her chair. It's a jump ball. Possession arrow will give the ball back to the Wheelcats.
Gold Coast are now looking to press the Wheelcats, recognising that they've put a bit more of a development team onto the floor, and so looking to take advantage of that by pressing on them.
Ball across to Vinci. She calms things down a little. Weaves from right to left. Grice hot on her, the tail of her chair. Forces a 24-second violation. I think Sarah Vinci just conceded that they were a little disorganised. Sarah King to Grice. She flips it inside. Georgia Ebert maybe just didn't have vision that that pass was coming. But it caught a Wheelcat's hand before sailing out of bounds. Falls into Grice. She was, I think, thinking pass initially, but snapped the shot off and it swished through the net. Poulter tries to get it ahead. It's stolen. Grice again. Goes for the finger roll.
Great coverage by Grice there, sitting on the hip and picking off that pass, taking advantage of her height and also her speed.
Lily Poulter with that foul. Grice, it's a beautiful shooting technique. Very few moving parts. Second one's off, but technique remains unbroken. She sits the ball on her knee for a second, lines the seams up, and every free throw looks pretty much identical to the previous one. See a steal from Sarah King. Back to Ashley Grice. We've got a foul detected again.
Yeah, Lily Poulter looked a little bit confused by that foul call, but it was called a holding foul, so she did get her front fend bar and foot plate into the opposition player's wheel, which is a holding foul, as you're denying them the opportunity to break past you.
Shots off from Sarah King. Closing stages inside the last minute. Sarah Vinci slaloms across the floor. There's a lovely bounce pass to Laura Gillis, who finishes. Sarah King pushes the ball ahead. Flips it to Ashley Grice, who makes her own layup. Pass deflected again. Ashley Grice doing a one-woman press in the backcourt. And Sarah King. She leans back, flips it back to Grice. Game clock being counted down. Ball finds its way back to Amelia Alley. His shot's off. Again, the bench enthusiastically hoping it might have gone in. Ball's flipped ahead. Alley scrambles after it but can't get it, and that will do us. It's the end of the regular season. 96 games between the two leagues, and the Perth WheelCats take the final game 63-35. A game which pleasingly gave an opportunity for both teams to utilise and wander through their benches through the last quarter and a half. Amber.
Yeah, absolutely. It was good to see that both teams were able to play some of their development players and give them those opportunities. You know, now looking forward, we have finals in just under 2 weeks' time, and so the Perth WheelCats looking to utilise the game time to work out what they may want to do as they prepare to focus playing against the Sydney Uni Lions. And for the Gold Coast, it's a great opportunity to identify what they might want to work on in their off-season, preparing for the 2027 WBA National League season.
As we see the teams all hand slapping is now the vogue with the officials, thanking all the benches, and undoubtedly the family members to go and consult about what happened and what didn't happen. And as we look at some of the raw numbers, the Perth WheelCats, the dominant 30 made 2-point field goal shots compared to just 15 for the Rollers, and a reasonable rebounding advantage, 50 rebounds to 41. Both those numbers significantly high, but particularly in the first half, the turnovers plagued the Gold Coast Rollers and resulted in 16 steals for the WheelCats, who were very efficient and suffocating with their press in the backcourt. We'll probably get a look at some highlights from the second half, and that undoubtedly was one of the highlights straight out of half-time. Ebony Stevenson with the three. Stevenson almost finishing with a 20-point, 20 rebound performance, 23 points, 19 rebounds, and sat out most of the last quarter. Certainly a young player on the rise.
Absolutely, and we can see just from these highlights the way that the WheelCats were able to utilise the space that was given to them, looking to work together as well, picking and screening to get into the keyway. And for the Gold Coast Rollers, they did a really good job against a relatively tough press to get the ball up the court, and when they did, there was some beautiful transitional baskets that came through from their ability to pass through the tough defence.
Sarah Vinci there, who has had one of her usual all-round excellent game, just leaning back to make that layup. You see the WheelCats having a little bit of a team huddle in the centre of the floor. That will do us. We will leave you from the Bendick Basketball Centre on behalf of my co-commentator Amber Merritt. It's Brenda Parnell signing off. The next time we will hopefully see you will be the finals starting in just under 2 weeks' time. Until then, it's bye for now.
I'm Georgia, and welcome to William Buck, a firm that is reimagining the way advisors work. Come with me and take a peek behind closed doors. Exceptional advice comes from passionate people who feel empowered to shape outcomes. Our teams include audit and assurance, business advisory, corporate finance, restructuring and insolvency, superannuation, tax, and wealth advisory. These teams work together to create a tangible impact for our clients.
From the suburbs of Melbourne to the world stage, I'd love to see that.
Where style meets performance, I'd love to see that.
Supporting champions and inspiring the next generation, I'd love to see that.